Still here with another Transgirl CNC where we're talking about comics, cartoons, and other awesome nerd shit. Well, last week I said that we'd be talking about an anime, and this week we are talking about an anime. We're going to be discussing Little Witch Academia, which can be found on Netflix as of current. Now, if you don't have Netflix, I'm sure that you're savvy enough to come up with a way to watch the series and its two movies. I've only seen the series, but there are two movies that go along with it, and I want to tell you why I think you should watch it, and what I liked about it. So, there will be some spoilers. There'll be some heavy spoilers, as we get on through the video. And, if that doesn't bother you, I hope you'll stay along for this ride. If it does bug you, definitely go and watch it, and come back. But I will let you know before we get into super spoiler territory. So, let's dive right in. So, Little Witch Academia is produced by Studio Trigger. You might know them for their titles such as Gurren Lagann and Kill la Kill, and that one episode from Steven Universe. Now, from all those, you can pretty much gather that Studio Trigger is indeed a wonderful animation house. They just, when they animate things, they definitely spare no expense. It's Jurassic Park up in there. Everything is amazing, no expenses spared. It's very smooth, very flowing, very pretty, and Little Witch Academia is no exception. So, if you enjoy watching something that's really well animated and well produced, then right there, boom, job done. Go watch it. It's really flowy and amazing. If you like something, if visuals aren't the only thing you need a good story, Studio Trigger has yet to release a story that wasn't at least somewhat good. Now, people do have a complication with Kill la Kill in that, skipping outfits, blah, 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 whatever. You have to kind of look past the outfits for Kill la Kill into the overarching story and connections between the characters. I get it. There's lots of plot. But, it's not a bad show. But we're not here to talk about that. We're talking about Little Witch Academia and its merits. So, not only is the art good, the art's fantastic. Good doesn't even cover it. Studio Trigger is probably my favorite animation house currently. Followed by Studio Bones. They do My Hero Academia. So the Academia animes are really popular right now. But that's not important. This, guess it's a little important. I guess we wouldn't be talking about it otherwise. But I'm rambling. So let's kind of get into it. So art's good. And now we get into the story. The story is actually pretty interesting. It's very intricate. It's about the world of magic. So yes, it is technically a magical girl anime, but unlike most magical girl animes where they're doing massive transformations, fighting to protect the planet, that's not what this is about. This is actually witch school. Going to learn to be a witch, to use magic. So some people describe it to me as the anime Harry Potter, and I guess I can see that. I'd like to say that that's an inaccurate description, but, sure, a little bit. There are houses and magic. Boom. Yeah. Our main character, her name is Akko. That's a nickname, but that's what everybody calls her, except for one character who calls her Miss Kaguri, because that's her last name. And yeah. So it's focused on Akko and her journey through this magical world and gaining knowledge and the powers of magic to become a great witch. In the first episode, she's tasked with basically finding the 7 words that will restore magic or change the world entirely. And that's what she's tasked with. Very first episode. It's very cool. I enjoyed. So the story is really interesting, really great. The characters themselves, yes, there are some tropes, but there's tropes in everything. Everything you watch has tropes that it uses to get the story along, to get the characters along, and that's fine. I mean, But what's nice, I suppose, is that while it does have tropes, etc., blah blah blah, it does. It does its best to not be slave to the tropes that it introduces in order to make the story move. It's like the tropes are a working part of the story, and it's a good narrative in that sense. And the characters, as mentioned, or were mentioning, and we got back into the story when we were talking about tropes, because some of the characters do share some tropey tropes. That's just how that is. But that's not their whole character, and that's what I feel makes the difference in that between this and other animes where a trope is their entire being. So let's kind of get into a little bit of spoiler territory, and then we're going to get into like major spoiler finale kind of stuff. But to start us off, let's talk about Akko a little bit and her journey. So Akko wants to be a witch. Normally, witches come from families where somebody has always been practicing magic. It's lines and lines of witches all going to different magical schools. The school is called Luna Nova, which is really, really pretty. It's New Moon, in Spanish. I don't know what that was. Anyway, Akko is the first in her family to be a witch, or to try to be a witch. She doesn't know anything about it, and the reason she's doing it is all because of a person called Shiny Chariot. It's like she was an idol witch. She went from town to town to town to town, doing these amazing magic shows and telling the audience, you just have to believe in yourselves, and that will power your magic. That's your magic, is if you believe in yourself. Along the way, she meets Latte and Sissy, who end up being her roommates, but before that, they all get thrown into a very dangerous forest on their way to the school. Akko doesn't have a broom of her own to get to the school, so she has to hitch a ride with Latte, and things just go awry. They end up in a forest, and anyway, I'm sorry. So they end up in this forest, super dangerous, giant cockatrice, which is like a chicken with a snake's tail, I want to say. Can't remember if it had the snake's tail. It's coming back to me. I'm thinking something different. I don't know. Look, giant chicken turns things to stone with stone breath. Like, it's dangerous. Right? And while they're running away, trying to, survive, Susie is actually trying to get a feather from the cockatrice because she's all about poisons. And cockatrice feathers make excellent poisons. She only needs one because, giant chicken. And in the middle of this, the magical artifact known as Shiny Rod, which was used by Shiny Chariot, appears before Akko. And she doesn't know what that means, but she takes it anyway because, she's gotta do what she gotta do. I don't know. So they don't defeat the giant chicken. Akko uses the wand to magically open a portal to get them to school. Like, the wand is super special. Sorry. You get to school, and then school life starts. And that's kind of the premise of the series. Is she found the rod, and the rod's special, and she learns that in order for magic to regain its strength, or for the world to undergo a change to allow that, she needs to discover the 7 holy magic words that will unleash the Grand Triskelion. I probably mispronounced that. But, yeah, and that will allow magic to flow freely in the world, at least At least they hope. Like, only she and a few other characters know that that's her task. The faculty, except for one teacher, totally thinks that Akko is a horrible witch. Like, she can't fly. She's really bad at magic. She doesn't want to study, etc. And so they're all, like, bleh on her. And that's really, like, part of the whole thing is she's got to overcome the odds of her peers feeling that she's not good enough to be there, that the teachers not feeling that she's good enough to be there. So, there you have it. But she does work her way through that, which I don't feel is too bad of a spoiler. If it is a spoiler, you know, most animes tend to have a pretty happy ending. Even Madoka Magica, which you kind of can't see the shirt, had a somewhat happy ending. Bittersweet, really, but, you know, all in all. So, that's the end of the minor spoilers, storytelling. Mega spoilers now. This show gets hella feelsy. Like, I cried several times, which I guess isn't saying much. I'm kind of a crybaby, you know, things get to me, but wow, super touching. Like, it turns out, like I said, we are in super spoiler territory. So if you have not clicked off the video and you're still watching and you're going to be offended by spoilers, click off now. Here we go. So, getting through the show, you find out that Ursula, who is the teacher that's been helping Akko, who believes in Akko, is actually Shiny Chariot. You can, if you're paying attention, I feel that you can guess it, like, within the first 5 episodes, that that's who she is. But, yeah. So, she's Shiny Chariot, and there's a big secret about, you know, why she's no longer Shiny Chariot. It has to do with those magic shows that she was doing, and Akko, who had happened to see one of those magic shows, was affected by it, not just in that it inspired her, but it also took a portion of her magic, and that's possibly where things start to get, like, their feelsiest, is because it gets explained to her that that's why she can't fly, and that's why she has such a hard time doing magic, because that portion of her magical potential was taken away from her. And I think that the entire experience of that anime and her going through that journey is just totally well done. Like, not only do we go through these storytelling tropes in such an interesting and unique way, it really just blends it super nicely together. They had a chance to kill Shiny Chariot, and they didn't, which is amazing, because that would have been, like, the worst. I almost cried, or I did cry, when I thought she was dead. And I like that Akko makes a bunch of friends that she didn't think she was going to make. And everything about the animation really lets you know that it's Studio Trigger, and sometimes it feels like they call back to their previous works in there, like her and Constance build a robot with a drill weapon. Like, we get it. You animated Gurren Lagann. We still love Gurren Lagann, and I really love this reminder that you did so. The missile at the end, growing eyes and teeth. Like, it's very Trigger anime, or it's very Studio Trigger, is what I mean by that, and it's really, really great. So, I suggest checking that out. Yeah, and that's kind of the end. Like, those are the huge spoilers. Watch out for Crow Sensei. She is totally shady, but if you can't tell she's shady by the first episode that she's in, you're not paying attention anyway, and you deserve to be surprised. But that's the end of this episode. Sorry to ramble there at the end a little bit. It's a really good story. It's really great, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you watch it. But as always, I'm Fire Princess Lily. This has been Transgirl CNC. And until next time, enjoy comics, enjoy cartoons, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care.